Look out your window right now and picture the car sitting in your driveway. For most Americans, that metal box represents freedom. But if you really look closely, that piece of metal is likely the exact reason you feel like you can never get ahead. We are living in a time where the American middle class is being squeezed from every direction. You work 40 hours a week, maybe more. You pay a rent or mortgage that takes up a third of your paycheck. You try to navigate the rising costs of groceries and healthcare. You throw whatever is left at your student loans, and you try to ignore that quiet, background anxiety about whether your 401k will ever be enough to let you retire. And right in the middle of all this financial pressure sits the American standard, the monthly car payment. We talk about debt like it is a bad weather forecast, unpleasant but completely unavoidable. We treat car loans and credit card balances like they're standard monthly utilities, no different than paying for your electricity or your internet. Today, the average monthly payment for a new vehicle is over $720. For many households, that payment rivals what they used to pay for rent just a few years ago. We have all been sold a very specific, very dangerous myth. Society tells us that a new car is the ultimate signal of success. It is a visible trophy that tells the world and your neighbors that you're doing well. We feel a deep pressure to project an image of wealth, even if it means sacrificing our actual financial health. We tell ourselves that we work hard, so we deserve to treat ourselves. We convince ourselves that a newer car is just a matter of safety and reliability, completely ignoring the fact that we are financing a luxury to impress people we barely even know. This facade comes at a massive cost to our long-term stability. But here is the hidden trap that keeps the middle class running on a treadmill. Dealerships and banks are not just selling you transportation, they're selling you debt. And debt is their absolute goldmine. To make these massive $40,000 loans feel affordable, the system is designed to stretch the repayment terms out to 68 months or even longer. The psychology behind this is brutal. They know you aren't looking at the total cost of the vehicle or the thousands of dollars you will pay in interest. They know you're only looking at whether you can squeeze that monthly payment into your current paycheck. But a car is not an asset. It is a rapidly depreciating liability. The moment you drive a brand new vehicle off the lot, it immediately loses about 20% of its value in the first year alone. Over 5 years, that car will lose roughly 60% of its original value. Because cars lose value so quickly, and because our loans are stretched out so long, we're seeing a silent epidemic sweeping across the country. Right now, over a quarter of all car trade-ins are underwater. That means the average person walking into a dealership to buy a new car still owes more on their old loan than their current car is even worth. So what do? They roll that old, unpaid debt into a brand new loan, digging the hole deeper without even realizing how much it affects their future. They drive around smiling in a new car while quietly carrying a shadow of debt that follows them everywhere. Let's look at a realistic scenario. Imagine Alex, a 32-year-old professional working an office job. He finally gets a promotion and a salary bump to $75,000 a year. To celebrate, he heads to the dealership and finances a shiny new SUV. His payment is $716 a month, but that is just the loan. Once you add in the cost of full coverage insurance, gas, and routine maintenance, Alex is easily spending between $12,000 and $15,000 a year just to operate that vehicle. Alex thinks he's doing fine, but every single month, a massive chunk of his take-home pay completely vanishes into a piece of machinery that is dropping in value every time the sun sets. Meanwhile, Alex feels broke. He complains about inflation. He tells his friends that he just doesn't earn enough money to build an emergency fund or invest in the stock market. But Alex does not have an income problem. He has a car problem. If Alex had taken that $700 a month and invested it instead, over the course of a few decades, he could have built a portfolio worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. He traded his future financial independence for the temporary feeling of a new car smell. So how do you escape this trap? How do you stop drowning in car payments and start actually building wealth? First, you need a radical mindset shift. You have to separate your identity from the things you buy. Stop viewing your car as a status symbol and start seeing it as a simple tool to get you from point A to point B. Second, step off the new car treadmill entirely. Let someone else take that massive 60% depreciation hit. Buy a reliable 3 to 5-year-old used car. If you can, pay for it in cash. If you absolutely must use a loan, use a small one that you can aggressively wipe out in a year or two. Third, repair before you replace. We live in a culture that pressures us to upgrade constantly. But maintaining your current car, fixing the brakes, and driving it until it truly fails will save you tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. It shifts your identity from a consumer to a caretaker. And finally, stop leasing. Leasing is simply the most expensive way to operate a vehicle. You are essentially paying the dealer for the steepest years of the car's depreciation, and at the end of it, you own absolutely nothing. Taking this path will not earn you any applause at a stoplight. You might be driving an older, slightly faded sedan while your coworkers pull into the office in brand new luxury trucks. But underneath that simple exterior, you will have something that they do not: absolute financial peace. When you aren't sending nearly $1,000 to a bank every month, the heavy pressure on your chest begins to lift. You stop living in fear of a sudden job loss or a medical emergency because you finally have the cash to protect yourself. You stop working just to afford the car that takes you to work. True wealth is quiet. It doesn't scream for attention. It shows up as calm, as options, and as the confidence of knowing that your money is finally working for you instead of working for your lender. Take a moment today and look at the payments you are making right now. What kind of future could you build if you were keeping that money instead? Would you be willing to drive an older car if it meant buying back years of your freedom? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear where you stand.